Good morning. I'm Captain Kate Gregory, the Commanding Officer of Brighton Congress Hall Salvation Army in the United Kingdom and Ireland Territory. And together we're reading Day by Day, A Call to Mission by Robert Street. If you'd like to read the book with us from the beginning, you can click in the field above where it's got a little white eye symbol, and you can read with us from the beginning. Today, almost at the end, is the start. When we agree to follow Jesus, it's really important to get a clear understanding of what we're talking about. To start with, following is not about calling the shots. It isn't about deciding which aspects of discipleship suit us and which ones we will avoid. Following, as stated earlier, is about being led. This will have a bearing on our prayers. What we ask for, what we expect, how deeply we trust, or what we want to achieve. We are in God's hands. They are safe. They are kind. They know how to point the way. They are the hands that were nailed to the cross and have nothing to prove about how precious we are to Jesus. We couldn't be in better hands, so trust them. Another factor, as mentioned earlier, is that nothing surprises God. He's in the past, present, and future. He's all-knowing. He knows every detail of our past and is already ahead of us in the future. He is with us in the every now of our lives. Consequently, God is never in a panic. We can be, and often are, in shock and bewilderment, but not God. We can trust him. We have need to learn how to do it better, and he will help us with that. It's also important to understand what God promises and what he does not. He pledges his constant presence deep in our hearts by our invitation and companionship by our side all through life. I am with you always, to the end of time, was his final promise in Matthew's Gospel. He promises guidance, care, complete understanding, forgiveness when we fail, eternal life, and what he sums up as life in all its fullness. But he did not promise a trouble-free life, special favours for Christians, no pain or illness, or avoidance of death. To hear some evangelists with their exaggerations, it's easy to gain false expectations. The healing Christ brings is like no other. It is eternal, and it helps if we can see his promises and actions in that light. In that way, we will not be disappointed. We will have an underlying joy, confidence, and security, and we won't lead others astray. Following Jesus, answering the call, doesn't necessarily involve leaving home. Every adventure with Jesus is different, but it does mean we try to share his worldview. We are asked to see beyond our own wants, community, and prejudices. The arms of Jesus stretch around the world, and so should ours. Charity begins at home, but it shouldn't end there. When we embrace the mission of Jesus, we're embracing the world with all its diversity, inadequacies, and problemed people. We may not see the world's potential as clearly or lovingly as Jesus, yet he asks us to try, and setting out to do so can enrich us far beyond anything that we could have imagined. We are all precious to God, everyone made in his image, whatever our chosen or imposed religion. He asks for all of us to know and find salvation in him. He forgives, restores, offers grace, support, and comfort. If we are to become like our Master, we have to learn to embrace these things too. Jesus told a story about a man building a tower in Luke chapter 14. Before he starts his work, he counts the cost. He makes sure it is what he wants and is able and prepared to pay the price. When we start to follow Jesus, it's wise to take his advice. Sit down, pray things through, consider the cost of discipleship and our own resolve, and then trust the rest to him. Some phrases from that chapter to reflect upon. Following is not about calling the shots. It isn't about deciding which aspects of discipleship suit us and which ones we will avoid. When we embrace the mission of Jesus, we're embracing the world with all its diversity, inadequacies, and problem people. We may not see the world's potential as clearly or as lovingly as Jesus, yet he asks us to try, and setting out to do so can enrich us far beyond anything that we could ever have imagined.